Final thing I want to talk about with price mechanism for the moment is signaling. Now, signaling is kind of like the rationing thing that I already talked about. So rationing is in terms of, hey, we've got to consider costs and we've got to consider benefits to decide how much we actually uh, produce of this thing, how much of our economy goes into this thing. The supply curve, the company needs to take into account the costs that affects the supply curve. The demand curve is how much you actually benefit, and you're going to settle hopefully at the intersection, the equilibrium, and that's telling you, okay, how much of this thing should we produce? However, it works as a signal, particularly also for when situations have changed. The price mechanism will signal to companies and consumers how to change their behavior. So let's say suddenly the costs have increased. Well, that will mean that the supply has shifted. Keep doing that. Supply has shifted to the left because costs increasing. And prices will go up. That's then an indicator to consumers, hey guys, consume a little less, right? The quantity is going to go down. So it allows the consumers to take into account costs have gone up of production. Let's say instead that we were talking about a situation where demand had increased. Suddenly people want more of it, or suddenly their income's gone up and they can afford more of it. Then that's going to be able to signal to the company, to the producer, hey, you can get more money by producing more, produce more. You can cover the added costs of this now, of this added production now. So do it. And they'll make more to reflect the fact that people are more able or more willing, or they like the good more, to pay more. So it works as a signal to help companies and consumers respond to changing circumstances to ensure that the economy still kind of works out, that people aren't still consuming loads of something even after it's become loads more expensive to make, or that people can actually consume more of something when it becomes cheaper to make. Companies can actually produce more if their consumers are better off, or if their consumers want it more, and produce less if their consumers have got worse off, want it less. So it works as a signal as well to take into account changing circumstances. So just to do a recap of the price mechanism topic, we have rationing, we have incentives, and we have signaling. And that's the price mechanism. So it's a pretty useful mechanism. And countries that haven't had this mechanism have generally had big problems because they often end up with huge shortages of production, huge surpluses of production, lower innovation because they don't have the incentives. Often the surpluses come about because they didn't respond to circumstances, and so their signaling was off. And so this is all very important. And that's the price mechanism.